And we are so happy to present to you Sister Jayanti today, where she agreed. She was invited to the USA for a special event, ended up doing 2-3 cities at the same time, and we're still insisting for her to come to Canada. So she extended her travel for another 24 hours. And so she came last night. We had different activities the whole day. And now she's going to have a program with us tonight. And straight from the program, she'll go and have, I think, a little nap in the plane. And she'll sleep for a few hours in the plane. And coming out of the plane, she'll go to another program. Sister Jayanti joined the Brahma Kumaris when she was a young girl, and she was not 18. She met the founder members of the organization, the lady that you see on the right here, on the, not on this wall next to me, we call her Mama, the black and white picture here, and Brahma Baba, the founder. She met them at a very young age, and she was already studying in London, in UK. She left India. She was originally from Pune in India, and she left at a young age to study in UK. So she became a kind of a British student over there, and went back to India in her early teens and met the founders of the organization. And immediately she felt a calling, but also, a question, how to reconcile certain values that she was experiencing in India with the trajectory of her life, which was becoming quite different. And because of her experiences, and you will see her amazing faculty, intellectual faculty, charismatic person, amazing personality, she quickly realized that she could really contribute in a significant way to, bringing some light into the world, if you want to say. I've known her for the past 40 years almost, and when I met her the first time, I was in my 20s, and she was, of course, older than me. And immediately we fell in love with her style. You'll find somebody very gentle, very articulated. To me, she's like a specialized surgeon with very specific tools. Tools are scary when you see them initially because you know what she's going to do with me. But it's very soft, very nice, and we enjoy being in her company. She specializes also in, speaking around the world on many topics. She can talk on anything, but she specializes on women issues, environment. She's on many committees for what we call now the COP 15, COP 20. She's been all in, all the different international meetings on the environment. And also, she's our representative at the United Nations Office of the Brahma Kumaris in Geneva since 1982. One of her amazing specialties that she has been really accompanying a former head of the Brahma Kumaris that we know as Daddy Jayanti, which was an incredible person that led the Brahma Kumaris, in the past few years, and she left us in the beginning of COVID in 2020 at the age of 104. And Daddy Jayanti was really the woman who left India to go to UK and to really help establishing the Brahma Kumaris all around the world. And when I started in my 20s and opened centers in Canada, we used to check everything with Daddy Jayanti, how to do this, how to do that. But we had to go through Sister Jayanti because of translation, but also because of her, advice, her presence, the care that they give us for all these years. So I invite you to really welcome her with your open heart and realize that we're very fortunate to have her even just for a few hours. She will share from her heart, and the topic is about celebrating the beauty of the heart. So I'm going to stop here, and then we can sit in a moment of silence. I invite you to just pay attention to your thoughts and select just a few beautiful thoughts. I'm peaceful. I'm okay. I want to be, open. I allow my heart to be free. I like these people around me. I'm okay here. Tell yourself nice things, little commentary for your own mind, and keep smiling, because smiling is good. So when she arrives, keep smiling, be nice, and enjoy the moment with Sister Jayanti. So have a great evening. I'll be introducing again the concept and the topic in a few minutes. But for now, let's sit in silence and invoke this beautiful meeting of the hearts for the next hour. Om Shanti.
I felt such peace, I could not look away. An angel looked back at me today. An angel is here with me. Oh, an angel. The angel spoke. My soul awoke, he showed me the light. Believe in your worth, be an angel on earth, shine your light. An angel is here with me. Oh, an angel. In the angel's eye, I could see the sky, I could see eternity, I could see divinity. An angel is here with me. Oh, an angel.
To awaken the heart and the beauty of the heart, we thought it would be a good idea to invite someone with a beautiful heart and someone who knows how to see the beauty in the hearts of others. Therefore, very warm welcome, Sister Jayanti. So, yes, you can warmly welcome her. You took the wrong one. And very important personalities, and I'd like to invite you to have a big round of applause to welcome all of you, very important hearts. So you're the VIH of the evening, very important hearts. Everyone, very welcome. We'd like to acknowledge our friends and new friends because we really believe that together we can make a big difference. So everyone's presence is wonderful. I wish you to enjoy the next hour, and we'll invite Sister Jayanti to speak maybe until 7:15. Then we'll have a nice meditation together, and that will be your beautiful experience, hopefully tonight, to awaken the beauty of your heart. Thank you very much, and on to you, Sister Jayanti.
Thank you, Brother Eric. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I think I was last here some years ago, and since then there's been further additions and renovations, and so it's a really very beautiful place to be here. Each and every one of us begins our journey with a beautiful heart. Do you believe that? When you look at a baby, or you look at an infant and you see the beauty that they have, then it reminds us that we started our journey with purity, with innocence, with love, with trust. A baby has total trust. And so we began our journey in the same way too. And then as we go through our life, different experiences do different things to us. Sometimes they help us become wiser, sometimes they help us become calmer, more patient, and sometimes they take us in the opposite direction. We become angry or bitter or aggressive or cynical. And so, is it possible for us to come back to that original state of purity, pure love and truth, transparency, innocence? I know that it is possible. I have had the good fortune of living with yogis who actually have reached that stage in their life. And it doesn't come just with old age. Sometimes we think, well, whatever is not quite okay now, as I grow older, I'll get wiser and maybe I'll get there. But the journey of life can be different. And so by the time I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80, who knows what I'll be like. Maybe I will be wiser, but not always. Maybe I will be happier, but again, no guarantees. But today, at this moment, at whatever stage it is I am in my life, and it's lovely to see mixed generation group here. I'm seeing people who are fairly young, very young also, but also different stages in their life. And at whatever stage it is I find myself in, it's okay. Because at this moment, if I decide I want to do something differently, it's my choice and I can make it happen. If I say I would like to come to a state where I am more patient, I am kinder, more loving, I can do that. It's not that some are blessed and are able to have those qualities, and others are not blessed and don't have those qualities. But my starting point, that everyone begins their journey with a beautiful heart. And so at any moment along my journey, I can make a choice and say, okay, enough is enough. What I'd like to do now is to have a beautiful heart. Why? Because that's the way I like to be. Think back, when there was anger, what did it feel like? Probably very uncomfortable. For you, for your physical body, the reactions of physical bodies to anger is not very healthy. But also your feelings at night when you try and go to sleep and there's been anger, then it's difficult. You toss and turn and say, I wish it hadn't happened like that. I wish it could be different. And also the impact on the atmosphere. Even if somebody wasn't a witness to the scene between you and the other, they feel the tension in the atmosphere. You walk into this room, and what do you feel? You feel the tranquility, the calm, the creativity. You carry away that inspiration. So they say that walls have ears. Well, I think walls also have vibrations. Walls soak in whatever other vibrations we have generated in any place. Why do we go on pilgrimage to sacred places? Whichever tradition it is we belong to, we all have our own places that we hold sacred in our hearts. And we go to those because those places are filled with the power of prayer. They've been filled with people's prayers of hope, of love, of devotion, of faith. And so anyone who comes to such a place, whether they belong to that tradition or they don't, they pick up those vibrations that have been filled within the walls there. So, similarly, a home that has love and joy, and you can feel it in the vibrations there. But another home that has anger or bitterness, again, you feel a bit uncomfortable. You can feel those vibrations. So, my anger has caused me discomfort and maybe even pain. But my anger has also changed the atmosphere. And whoever was the target of my anger, well, I've probably created a breakdown in the relationship with them. How long is it going to take to heal that wound? If you've got something that happens to the body, generally the wound heals after a certain space of time. When you're little, it'll heal very quickly. You're a bit older, it'll take a bit more time, but it will definitely heal. But a wound in the heart, 20 years, 40 years, and wounds still don't heal, maybe. And so that relationship that was maybe of friendship, maybe of trust, maybe of love, whatever it was, there's a break in that. And if there's a rope and it's been cut and then you knot it together again, will it be as strong as it was before? It won't be. And so whether it's a break in one place or a break in several places, every time there's a break, it weakens the strength of that rope. Same thing. My relationship breaks. I try to repair it, but no, it can never be quite the same again. And so the damage that negativity causes me and to others around me is huge. And so if today I decide I want to return to that heart that's filled with unconditional love, absolute love. And it's not just humans who have unconditional love or can have unconditional love. Anyone who's had a pet knows that that pet has unconditional love. Sometimes we've come to the point where a person will tell me, well, I've lost my trust in human beings, but I love my dog. I trust my dog. And that's probably a reality. That's the story of their life. And so today I decide I want to clean out all the negativity and I want to make my heart very beautiful. It's possible. And when I have that conviction and determination that this is what I want to do, then the universe also helps and circumstances come my way that help me on that journey. Or even I would say, others see me move in that direction. They also support me and they also help me. And so it just needs that one thought. This is what I would like to do. And so as I begin my journey, maybe one of the things that I have to understand is that there's a difference between mind and body. I think most would accept that, but where exactly is my mind? And what is my mind? And do I have another heart apart from this pumping machine? Because yes, when I have feelings, then I can feel the impact in my heart, but it doesn't actually begin there. It actually begins somewhere else. It begins in my mind, in my feelings. And where are my mind and my feelings? Body, we know a lot about that. We can get all the information from the tools of medical science now. But one thing that only spirituality teaches us is the mind, the soul, feelings, consciousness, personality, memory, and all of these things are not the brain. The brain is the vehicle, but it's actually consciousness that has all of these aspects of the human being and the being itself. We use this term human being. The human is the body. But what is the being? The being is the living being that I am within, that's not visible, that's not physical, and yet is very much there. Give you a simple example. Let me talk about thoughts or feelings. Can you measure them? Can you weigh them? And yet they exist. Definitely. And they're part of consciousness. And yes, consciousness works through the brain. At some point, we had several conferences on the subject of consciousness and science. And we had scientists who were researching into consciousness. And it's been very interesting to talk to them and find out more and more. And the beautiful thing is that as time has gone on, they've been able to develop tools which they didn't have 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And through those tools, many scientists have now come to the conclusion that brain is separate to consciousness. Various authors that you might like to read. One is Dr. Bruce Lipton, a medical scientist who did a lot of research on all of this. And I wouldn't be able to repeat what he says, and I wouldn't want to, but definitely you can find out more about all of this through that material, The Biology of Belief. That's one of his books, but there's a whole series. So why I say this is because within that living aspect that is consciousness are my thoughts, my feelings. There's also conscience. There's also patterns of behavior. And all this is recorded within my own inner being. And yes, even patterns of behavior are visible in the brain, but we used to think that whatever is a person's personality and the patterns of behavior and the sum total of past experiences make up personality. But it's not just in the soul works through the body. And so, just as if I use certain muscles in my body in a very conscious way, I'm able to develop them. And some of you here know more about that than I do. But there are also some muscles that we don't use, and so we have to learn to use them. So, although the intention is there, the physical takes over and it has to be done through the physical. So, patterns of behavior in the soul. And now we know that the brain has plasticity. And so, whatever were the patterns of behavior before, it doesn't need to stay like that. We can actually change those patterns. And if we choose, come back to our original beautiful patterns of behavior. And so, it just requires me to make my decision. And if I make that decision tonight, wonderful. I hope you'll go away with that intention and that decision that, yes, what you would like to do is have a beautiful heart. And what happens with a beautiful heart? Many, many different aspects. One is that when we have positive thoughts and feelings, then of course the benefit for the soul, but also because when I have positive thoughts and feelings, I feel good about myself. Has anyone ever felt good after having anger or a bout of ego? Don't think so. And so to be able to feel well, I need to feel good about myself. If I'm guilty, if I'm unhappy, I'm distressed, well, that's not the right direction to be going in. So good feelings, and I feel good about myself. And what I then need to do is to nurture that and develop that. And there was a very interesting conversation I had with a woman who had just won the Templeton Prize for Positive Psychology. 30 years ago, we didn't hear about positive psychology, and now we do. And again, this is because when I asked her, well, how come? And she had a very, very clear explanation. She said that when people first started to research into the inner world, the feelings and emotions, etc., they began to study the negative emotions. Why? Because the tools they had could measure those. Because when there's a negative feeling that comes, it comes like a sledgehammer, and it has a strong impact, and it lasts for a considerable time. But when we have positive feelings and emotions, they come in a flash and they disappear very quickly. They're very transient and they don't leave an imprint. They come and they disappear. And so we've only now had the tools with which we can measure positive feelings. Earlier, we didn't. And so the things that they were experimenting and measuring with at that time were things like anger, like jealousy, like greed, and all the negative stuff. And so today we know that positive feelings and emotions have a huge impact. Yes, firstly on my physiology and my own mental well being. But secondly, what they found was that if one individual has positive feelings, then the relationships that they develop with others are also more than likely going to be positive, healthy relationships. And it doesn't need both to be that, both together, positive, very good. But even if one hasn't yet reached that point, but one has, then within that relationship, there'll be a new dynamic and there'll be something good that will evolve from that. But also the efficiency and accuracy at work, that also develops if I have good feelings, positive feelings. If I don't, my work is likely to suffer. Now, on a logical level, we would say that that's probably true. But now I'm talking about all the research that they've done within this field. And so, yes, definitely, it improves your work, it improves your efficiency, it improves your creativity, but also another factor that instead of being concerned in a narrow way just about yourself and maybe two or three other individuals around you, your vision widens, your horizon opens up, and you're able to have care and concern for many, many others. And so the whole question of making a positive contribution to my community begins to open up. And when it was negative feelings, feelings are not so healthy, that just doesn't happen. But positive feelings and the spin-off of all of these things is some of the things that I've mentioned and a lot more. And so it's not just good for me to have positive feelings, but it's good for everybody else around me also. And the impact it has in a very far-reaching way, again, is very visible. They found that there were different methods they could use to stimulate positive feelings. A very simple example is food. Think about the food that you like to eat, whatever it may be, whether it's ice cream or whether it's gulab jamun or whatever. But as soon as you enjoy those things, you feel very happy. And it applies to all external stimulus, not just to food, but whether it's good music I enjoy, whether it's reading I enjoy. What they found was that all of this stimulates good feelings, but it lasts for a short period of time. But once it's reached a peak, then you can continue with the same activity, and then it doesn't go higher and higher. Then it begins to take a very steep decline. Have you tried eating one scoop of ice cream feels good. Another scoop of ice cream. Okay. Another one. And probably you say, I don't think I can manage it. And it's not just your tummy that's grumbling by then, but you really feel enough. I don't want any more. And if for whatever reason you're forced to have more, steep decline. And that happens with everything in terms of physical stimulation. They found one thing that always brought positive feelings, and it didn't change. There wasn't any decline. And if you were able to manage it for a short while now, and you increased it and increased it, the level of positive impact it had was higher and higher and higher. No prizes for guessing what that was. Meditation. They didn't specify any particular type of meditation, but certainly they found that anybody who experimented with meditation and wanted to continue with it, every single time there was better and better and better results. So, welcome to the journey of the soul, the journey inwards that can help you discover that which is your own original treasure. And of course, when you begin to understand this, again, it makes total sense that anything from outside will always have very limited impact. You think you're going to get happiness buying a new car. And it's true, you're very happy when you get your new car. Tomorrow, or even maybe tonight, you see your neighbor with a bigger, shinier, better car than yours. What happens to your happiness? Well, it takes a bit of a dip. And tomorrow, if you see that somehow the car's been left with a big scratch, your happiness takes a further dip. And so it didn't last very long. You realize that happiness cannot come to me from outside. What about love? We say that money can't buy love, but yet we're always trying to make that happen, buying love. We think buying gifts is going to bring me love, helping someone is going to give me love, giving them something is going to give me love, cooking a good meal for them is going to give me love. And maybe it will, but again, it'll be short-lived. Because when there's real love, it doesn't depend on flowers or chocolates or good meals. It's something that's an internal experience and a spiritual connection with another, not a physical thing. And when you go on your spiritual journey, you discover that there's peace within, which sounds strange because, again, we've been thinking that peace is somewhere out there. If I go on holiday, I'll find peace. If I leave this person who's causing me a problem and I go somewhere else, that's going to bring me peace. And does it? Very rarely. You go on holiday and sometimes you come back more stressed than you went away. That's also happened, I'm sure, to many people here. Or you begin a new relationship, and at first it's beautiful, it's really beautiful, but maybe it lasts, maybe it doesn't. The statistics in England are not very happy statistics. I won't bore you with those details. So, the journey within, and yes, definitely, all the positive feelings and emotions begin to emerge. Why? Because they're there actually within myself. They've got buried through the experience of my recent past. But when I go inside and connect with myself, I can again emerge those experiences. First of peace. You know, when we say Om Shanti, that's what we're doing. We're reminding ourselves of who we are. I am that being within, Om. I am. Shanti, peace. I am a being of peace. And later on, we'll experiment with a few minutes of meditation. And I hope you'll actually feel it. It's not a mantra, it's not a chant, it's not a word that you repeat to yourself, but it's a reminder to your own awareness that there is that treasure of peace within your own being. And so let me be able to awaken that and emerge that experience once more. While I'm just living life on the external materialistic level, I have no contact with myself. And this is why sometimes, although externally everything seems to be going my way, and yet internally my feeling is there's something missing. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but there is definitely this feeling, something missing. And what I can do is to experiment with silence, but not just sitting down and telling myself, shut up, or even telling my thoughts, go away, I don't want you. But there's a whole process of understanding how to channel my thoughts in the right way. And when I do this, awakening the awareness of the inner being and being able to rediscover the peace that I carry within, but also peace opens the door to many other treasures. Probably my next experience would be the experience of love. Strange question, but I'll ask it anyway. How many of you love yourselves? You don't have to. Good, some people are answering me. Many people are beginning to answer me. But even if you don't want to answer, carry away this question with you. Do I love myself? And there's a very beautiful statement in the scriptures. It's actually a commandment. It's a commandment from above. Love thy neighbor as you would love yourself. Well, how come we don't love our neighbors? And most times people have trouble with their neighbors. The fence breaks down, whose fault was it? This thing happens, that thing happens. And so not just neighbors at home, but country neighbors. There's always a bit of friction and tussle going on. Look at the map of the world and see the geopolitical situation, and you'll see how true that is. And so, question, why don't we love our neighbors? And it's probably because we don't know how to love ourselves. And it's not ego to love myself, but rather it means to be able to know my own inner value, not the value in terms of my bank balance or the property that I have or the car that I drive. No, the value of the soul itself. And the value of the soul itself depends on my inner core values, but also very much connected with that, to what extent are my inner core values aligned with the way I behave in my life? I can know my inner core values and then have all sorts of excuses and say, but this is wrong, that is wrong, that's going on. No. Have those core values and know them and connect with them, but also then to be able to lead a life that's based on those core values, and my self-esteem will begin to grow. One of the big issues of today's world is identity. Who am I? And identity, even in terms of gender, who am I? But identity in terms of knowing myself deeply. And when I don't know myself, then there's bound to be confusion. And in a state of confusion, what's the quality of my decision making? You know the difference. You know when you've been very clear, and with that clarity, you know what you have to do. And you also know when you've been confused and tried to make a decision, what happens then. Whatever you decide, probably next morning you'll say, no, that's not what's right. I want to do something else. And so when I'm aligned, then I'm clear. I know the direction I wish to go in. But most importantly, being aligned in my core values and my life means that my own value for myself increases. My own respect for myself increases. And when there's self-respect, then my behavior with others is also filled with respect. And so everything comes from inside out. Whatever is going on inside gets reflected in my behavior outside. And so finding the beauty in your heart, and now I'm not talking about this machine, but I'm talking about the inner awareness, because it's the inner awareness that actually determines the qualities of my feelings. And my positive, pure feelings depend on the connection that I have with myself, to be able to know myself and discover the peace, but also the love that I carry. Also, the truth that exists within. You know what's the era we are living in now? In 2016, Brexit happened in Britain, and other things happened in other parts of the world. But by the end of the year, Oxford Dictionary, which always publishes the new word that has come into the English language that year, because there's always additions, new words. So in 2016, at the end of that, they said that the new word that year was post-truth. There's an era when there's truth. Then there's another era in which there isn't a truth, but at least there's the acknowledgement of what is true and what isn't. Then there comes another era when there's post-truth, when truth has been left behind, and so everything is colored with falsehood. I know that AI will offer many wonderful opportunities for us, but on the other side, there is a downside, and that is what is true, what isn't. I had someone sent me a little video, and it was two women who were doing Bharatnatyam dance, the famous dance of India, very beautiful. And while the camera was at a distance, the classical music, the movements all seemed to be so precise, so beautiful, so accurate. And then when the camera came up close, there was something a little bit strange. The faces didn't seem to be as expressive as the actions. And in Bharatnatyam, you know that it's not just a dance of movement, but it's also of facial expression. And it wasn't quite managing that. And then at the end of the video, they tell us this was actually two robots that were dancing. And you could only see it when it was close up. You couldn't see it beforehand. So what is the era that lies ahead of us? It's up to us to decide. And collectively, as we decide, we can use any type of technology to move forward, or we slide down. So it's up to us to make a decision and decide now, with the point that truth lies within us, but we need to connect with it to be able to experience it and see how it unfolds in our life. What else is there within? There's happiness, there's joy, because that is the natural state of the human spirit. If you're peaceful, you're loving, you're happy, everything is good. And if you're restless, peaceless, then things are not going to be so comfortable. You enter a place where there isn't an atmosphere of love and belonging. You want to get out of that place as soon as possible. You enter a place where you know that there's deception, again, not so comfortable, but where you know that truth prevails, you want to stay there. So what is comfortable and what is natural is what I carry within myself. And so I carry all of these treasures within. And what I have to do is to connect and be able to emerge them and express them. And so when I say beautiful heart, I'm talking about the feelings of the individual and the pure, beautiful feelings that all of us actually have, that we carry. And we just need to express them once we connect with them. And the more you do it, the better it becomes, the more it'll flourish and grow, and the more it'll impact others around you. People at home don't believe what you say. People at home believe what you do. Am I right? You can say all sorts of fancy things to people out there, but they don't know you. And so maybe they'll believe you, maybe they won't. But at home, they'll only believe what they see you do. They won't believe what you just tell them. They'll say, well, show me. And so first, the service of the home through my own transformation. And that impacts everyone in the home. They'll say, well, what made you change? How did you manage this? What's making you so happy? It's raining outside and it's not such a nice day, but how come you look so happy? What's making you happy? And so there'll be an influence, and that influence will help others flourish in the same direction also. They say that values can't be taught, but they can be caught. And that doesn't just apply to children, it applies to everyone in my home. It rubs off. And so if I want to make others happy through my happiness, I have to nurture my own happiness within. And then I'll also be able to be of service to others around me. You know how if you come into an atmosphere of fear, if one person enters that room who's not afraid, then their courage, their faith is shared with everybody there. There was an earthquake in Athens some years ago, and this sister was working on the ground and then first floor. She was in the first floor office at an open plan office, and it was a printing place, and so different people doing different things. The earthquake came, and immediately the first reaction was fear and the thought of running. And they saw this person who was a meditator sitting very calmly at her desk, and they said to her, aren't you going to run? No, just going to be right here. And her calm influenced the others, and they also sat down. And after, must have been just a minute or so, but afterwards, when the tremors finished, then she said to them, let's go outside now. And they all left quietly. And if in panic I run, probably that's when I'll break a leg or break my arm or something will happen. But if I'm able to be calm in crisis, it helps everyone around me also. And so values can be caught. They're contagious. Fear is contagious, but equally the other. Values are also contagious. And so one can have a very positive impact on many, many others around. And so when I begin this journey, I don't realize how deep I have to go, but the deeper I go, the more the treasures I experience, and those treasures emerge, and life becomes very beautiful. And you begin to see life with that vision of beauty. And if I'm seeing something with its beauty, then I'm going to be encouraging that beauty to grow. If you tell a child, you're no good, you're no good, you're no good, what's going to happen? You've seen the results. But if you tell a child, this is beautiful, go for it, do more. This is lovely, why don't you do more of this? And you'll be encouraging whatever is positive and beautiful within the child. And not just for children. Children, of course, are totally receptive. They absorb everything because you're porous. Everything is still open wide. But with adults also, compliment somebody, not on an artificial level, but very sincerely, something good that you've seen in them. And you'll win their hearts. But also, it'll inspire them to continue to further that particular aspect in their life. So see beauty, and you inspire that beauty to grow further. But it begins with being able to see myself and developing and nurturing that beauty that is within me. And what does it need? It requires faith and it requires time. Faith that, yes, when I started my journey, there was that beauty, and now I have to emerge it and rediscover it again. But so that you begin with that faith, but also to make time for myself every day. And it's not that I'm too busy. Think about how busy you are, and I believe everyone is very busy. Even little children will say, I'm busy. But within that busyness, what is it that I'm giving priority to? If I give something priority, what do? I make time for it. And so let me make time for myself, knowing that whatever happens within me is going to give benefit to everybody around me. Usually we try and balance three things together: our work life, our family life, and the time we need for ourselves. And most times we will say, well, my work is the most important thing. It is important, totally agree. But what if I'm not quite together myself? If I haven't sorted out things within myself, what's going to be the quality of the work that I do? And then family, where does family fit in with my work? And if I'm not able to give proper time to my family, then again, things don't go as they should. There'll be a disturbance that I'm carrying within myself that's going to impact whatever else I do. But I feel I want to fulfill my responsibility to my family. But yet, I don't have the inner capacity to be able to do the best that I could for the ones who are nearest and dearest to me. And so I need to find a way to change this, because certainly focus on work, and relationships suffer incredibly. Just work on relationships, and what happens to my work? But there's a solution. Let me focus on the inner being that I am and cultivate that beauty of those natural, original qualities of love, of peace and truth that I carry within myself. And if I can do that, immediately all relationships change, because now I have something to give to others within a relationship. If I'm empty, what can I give? And probably the other one is empty too. And so two empty tanks can't refill each other. And so that doesn't work. But if I've been able to recharge myself by making time for myself and connect with my inner treasures, then I'm able to give something to everyone I'm connected with, not just at work or at home or my life socially, but across the board. I have enough to be able to share. And the beautiful thing is that when you share, it comes back to you multiplied. It comes in a return. But also, if I've been able to emerge those positive feelings and emotions and qualities within myself, then yes, definitely, that's going to impact my work in a very positive way, like I shared right at the very beginning. Positive feelings and emotions allow my work to be more productive, more creative, more accurate on all levels. And so the secret of seeing the beauty within is to be able to have these two things, that faith that it's there, but also making time to be able to emerge it and express it in my life. And just that little bit of time is a wonderful investment. When you invest, what you're giving is little, and the outcome you hopefully want a lot more to come back to you. And that may or may not happen in the world out there, but certainly on the spiritual journey, a little bit of investment for yourself in terms of time, attention, energy, focus, and the results are very visible very soon. And it doesn't even take days and months and years. It happens very fast. One session, and you begin to understand things a lot more clearly, and you continue, and that awareness and understanding grows every time you learn something new. And so, a warm, warm invitation for those who are here to come back and find out more about this inner journey. And what is this thing called consciousness and soul? What more can I understand about it and know more about it? The other thing that I want to share is that when we go on this journey of spirituality, it's a journey of great beauty, but it's also a journey in which there's a few bumps along the way. I discover things about myself that I didn't know. But better that I discover those things now rather than later on in an emergency. The more I spend time with myself, the more I uncover layers. And maybe I thought I wasn't afraid, but I discovered that there is fear. Well, there's ways to be able to deal with it by increasing my understanding of myself and learning how it is I can make myself strong and powerful. The soul is extremely powerful. One individual can have a huge impact on many, many others around us. There was a very interesting story that somebody shared. They'd been at a summer school in Harvard, and in that they were asked to play games. And in one particular game, there was 6 people, and the task was to build a city. And each one was given a pot of money, and there was also a community chest, and they were able to put into the community chest whatever they felt was correct. And the organizers discovered that generally, sometimes a bit more, a bit less, but around 10% was what they put into the community chest. And they then decided to plant an actor just on one of the tables. And that one actor was told, put in 20%, which he did. The others also saw. And the other 5 people, when they went to different tables with the same purpose, the same goal, they also put in 20% now. The people who saw them, they went to other tables and they put in 20% also. And so the impact of one was able to impact around 125 others. And so, power of one individual can have a positive, powerful impact on 125 others. So, if you wanted proof that good works, beautiful acts of kindness can inspire others, well, you have evidence that shows that it's true. And so just imagine if all the people here in this room were to experience their own inner beauty and say, I'm going to demonstrate this with an act of kindness. It's not a question of money, maybe just a smile, maybe 5 minutes of your time for somebody, but something that can help another. And 5 minutes of your time given to someone else, maybe they don't want to talk, maybe you talk to them. Maybe it's the other way. They just want a kind listening ear and they want to talk to you. They want to share something from their heart. And so, whatever it is, but one act of kindness can impact a whole circle around you. And if we all did this, how long would it take to create a world of truth and beauty? Not long at all. And I believe that this is the direction that the world is actually going in. We've been through a long period of darkness, but I see that there are so many indicators that light is entering this world of ours again. There's now a holistic approach to healthcare. 30 years ago, that wasn't the case. You know, the alternative people were not really much noticed, but today they've been integrated. So holistic healthcare is available in many places. Holistic education, that's come into our world. Holistic architecture, green architecture. We never heard these words before. Many, many more people turning to plant-based diet. Again, something very new, very positive that's happening. So in different ways, look at the number of self-development books that are available. Again, light entering this world. And so there is beauty. I need to notice it, nurture it, and share it. And together we'll create a beautiful world. And that is the vision that I hold, that the darkness of the world will give way to light, because that's the natural order of things. When there's a dark night, it doesn't go on forever and ever and ever. It feels as if it's endless, but it's not. There's a limit to it. And after that, there's the dawn. And the dawn brings with it the light and the day. So I think that's the direction we're heading in. And so keep that vision of a beautiful world, but more importantly, connect with the vision of your own beautiful original self of truth and love and beauty. Thank you for your attention. Om Shanti. Meditation now. I've spoken about the inner journey, and of course it's a very personal journey, but when we meditate together, there's a very powerful energy that's generated. And the question always is, what do I do in meditation? Well, I just have to sit quietly and watch my thoughts, but also start creating pure thoughts, powerful thoughts. So I'd like to share my own thoughts as I meditate and invite you to follow these ideas. Sitting quietly, reflecting on the things I've been hearing about, I experiment with this idea that I have light within me that I am a being of light. And when I hold this light in my consciousness, I come to that awareness that this is who I am, a being of light, shining in the center of the forehead. And I watch my thoughts and the speed of my thoughts slows down, and I can select the thought I would like to have. And I hold the thought of peace. And as I think of peace, I can feel the peace within myself. And in this awareness of peace, I can let go of the stress that had accumulated in my physical body. Peace within, and the body relaxes. And I can feel my body becoming comfortable. And in this awareness of peace, the power of peace feels natural and comfortable. And the power of peace grows, and the vibrations of peace reach out beyond this room, out into the world. And peace touches human hearts, so they become peaceful. And peace reaches out to all forms of life. And they feel safe and protected. And peace reaches out to nature itself, so the elements become calm and return to a state of harmony. Peace touches every corner of this planet of ours. And as I become more and more peaceful, the door in my heart opens to experience love. love which is pure, unconditional, and totally inclusive. A love that binds the whole of humanity together as one human family. Love that gives a sense of belonging. Love that's able to heal the wounds of the past. Love that's able to forgive. With light, with peace, with love, we come closer to truth. And truth is able to show us the path to a world in which there can be trust and harmony. I stay connected with myself, and in this awareness, continue to share these vibrations with the world. And now I come back to the awareness of the physical domain. But now, as I come back to the things that need to happen here and now, I bring with myself the awareness of these inner treasures and the beauty of the spirit that I've experienced. So that these qualities inform my thinking, my speaking, and my doing. Om Shanti. Just a few minutes each morning and each evening, and maybe whenever you get a chance through the day, awakens these treasures within the self. And there's the opportunity then to share these through our lives. Thank you for being here and your attention. Om Shanti.